We have had canning as a method for food preservation for many years. However, it has evolved and become very different. You'll find misinformation and accurate information both all over the internet, and there's also different kinds of equipment that are available, some that just aren't recommended. I'm going to show you several different kinds of recommended products by the USDA, and they're researched, and we feel they're the best methods available. If you're doing high acid foods, even if it's vegetables with vinegar, like pickled green beans or pickled cucumbers, you can do a water bath canner. And this is the old-fashioned water bath canner, and it comes with a liner that goes all the way down into the bottom so that jars do not touch. You don't have to have this big canner. If you have a nice big stainless steel pot that'll hold your jars and allow 2 inches of boiling water over the top, that'll work. You just need something in the bottom. Maybe you can get your hands on something like this, some kind of a cooling rack or something that'll fit down into the pot so that you can use it as a water bath canner. You can also use a pressure canner as a water bath canner if you just don't seal it down. But water bath has 2 inches of boiling water over the top and a lid over the top. Years ago, they did what they called open kettle, and that was no lid over the top, and we no longer recommend that as a safe method. All of your vegetables need to be canned in a pressure canner so that you pressurize steam to get it hot enough to kill any botulism and any other kinds of foodborne bacteria that might make you ill. This one right here is called an All-American. It's a rather expensive canner, and this can come with a gauge. It can come with a gauge and a weight, or you can buy some, I believe, with just a weight. It all depends on what you find, especially if you find a used one. In this particular case, you can see that there's nothing between the 2 rims of metal. When that is clamped down, it has metal to metal, and you don't have to worry about any rubber gaskets. With a pressure gauge, you have to have it tested every year for accuracy, and you can do that in an extension office or sometimes send it back to the manufacturer to verify that it is accurate. This is another pressure canner that has a weighted gauge. And if you look very closely, the numbers on the gauge tell you how many pounds pressure you're working with. Now, not only does it tell you the number of pounds of pressure, it also is a regulator. It keeps it at that pressure as long as you keep it high enough to keep it jiggling. However, these also come with rubber gaskets. In this particular case, this rubber gasket is in good condition, but they may have to be replaced, and finding replacement parts for used canners can be hard. This canner is somewhat old. It's probably 30 to 35 years old, and you'll find nice canners that are older than this. But the problem might be finding the replacement parts, either the rubber gasket ring. Most of these little gaskets that are what will blow if you're getting too much pressure and it's getting dangerous, a lot of those are consistent with each other and can be used in multiple canners. Here's a different lid, and then there's another lid with that gasket. In this particular case, this lid is a weighted gauge also, but it is a stackable gauge. In this particular case, it has 10 pounds pressure because there's 2 rings. And if you want 15 pounds pressure, you go to the 3rd ring. What's nice about this one is it has this little pop-up here that when it gets pressure, this pops up. And when it loses pressure, or when it's finally ready to open, when you're finished pressure canning, this will drop, and you'll know that the pressure is gone. In this particular canner, there isn't one of those. So you have to kind of just tap and make sure there's no hissing coming out. There's no way to be sure 100% that the pressure's gone, unless you can kind of tap this and not get any sound of a hissing sound or something that indicates there's still pressure in the pot. We never ever want to open up the pressure canner until the pressure is gone, so that the contents don't suction out of your jar, so that you don't get burnt. Still, you have to be very careful when you open them because they're very hot, and you always open away from yourself. This is one with a gauge. It has the little tab that'll pop up when it's under pressure. And I just wanted to show you, though, there's no the separate way to vent. This one has a separate way to vent. This is because of the gauge. You have to vent your canner for 10 minutes and let steam escape to make sure that you're canning with pressurized steam and not just boiling water. This one doesn't have that because you vent through where the gauge goes. Here, after you're finished venting, you put that on. It is not a regulator. It will not maintain your pressure. It's just keeping the pressure inside the pot. And then you watch how much pressure you're gaining over here on the gauge. So, if you're looking for a pressure canner, you have a lot of options. And there are pros and cons to all of them. If you live in Florida, you probably don't need a gauge. The weighted gauges do never have to be tested unless it's chipped or broken and you get a replacement. But the dial gauge has to be tested every year to maintain accuracy. And if it's not right, you can go through all of that and have the chance of getting sick. Hope this helps.